So I wasn't thinking I'd be doing many personal bits videos on my vacation, but, well, some interesting stuff happened. So I think I'll tell you guys. Basically, I had some, first of all, I had some interesting people sitting next to me on the plane right here. Because, of course, I stayed on the plane, but the plane stopped at Vegas in between, so I had two sets of passengers next to me. On the plane ride to Vegas from San Jose, this guy came in. Actually, these two guys came in, and it was kind of weird. That one guy was super fancy, and he wasn't carrying anything, but then like his friend was carrying everything. So I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe his friends just has a lot of stuff, and he just doesn't have much stuff. Well, then they sit down. So I'm at the window seat, of course. I always got to get the window seat. The fancy guy sits at the end, and like his assistant sits in the middle. And then it's kind of weird, like whenever the flight attendants are handing out peanuts, the assistant that's in the middle is opening it for the guy. Well, the guy's like listening to music or whatever. And I got talking to him somehow, kind of across the guy, and something was kind of off. And after a little bit, I figured out what it was. I think that guy that was dressed super fancily and had the helper was surprised that I didn't recognize him. I don't know who he was, but after a few minutes of talking, where it was me and him talking over his like assistant, he switched seats with his assistant, so he'd sit next to me, and we were talking about PlayStation and all that kind of stuff, and different headphones, and how the game industry has some issues, and like Android versus iOS. And he gave his opinions, and I said, well, you can run emulators on Android, so. But whoops. But yeah, so it was kind of cool that we just started talking about stuff, and we're talking about our first game consoles and Sega Genesis, and like video game industries, like how consoles usually are a detriment to the game industry when there's multiple platforms. Like for instance, Nintendo does really well because their Legend of Zelda series is only on the Wii, or the Wii U, or whatever. Or it's only on their consoles, it's not on the PC. But whenever you have games like Watch Dogs or Final Fantasy XIV, they're all cross platforms, but like the PlayStation 3 holds back Final Fantasy XIV. So everything is dumbed down to the PlayStation 3 level, so everybody gets an equal experience. It was like, why? Why can't the PC version be better than the PlayStation 3 version? Because the PC version, it could be so much better. It could be better than any game console. So we got in that conversation, and then so he was asking me what I do, and so I asked him what he was doing there. He said that he was going to Vegas for some Miss Universe pageant or something like that. So I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. You look like you're wearing like several $1,000s just on you, because he had like really fancy clothes on, like I guess you could say like a little bit darker than rust red pants, and then he had like a really fancy like it looked like the shirt and the jacket he was wearing had almost like hollow foil, but it was like a suit jacket. That's what started the conversation. He had limited edition PlayStation 20th anniversary headphones, and it kind of caught my eye because it's like he was wearing headphones that have the PlayStation symbol on. I was like, that's weird. Do you like PlayStation? So yeah, that was kind of interesting. She's like, well, he's obviously doing something interesting. Then, on the ride from Las Vegas to St. Louis, I got to sit next to a guy, which actually, we had an empty seat too, so we got to like kind of spread out a little bit. But that guy, his job is to transfer prisoners on commercial airliners. Because evidently, it's actually not that dangerous to just have a prisoner handcuffed to the guy, and the guy, I'd say he was like 55 or so. He was built kind of like, he was built pretty big, kind of like, I mean, not like, he wasn't super muscular, but he was kind of like, I'd say like a taller Danny DeVito. But I couldn't tell if it was muscle or fat, you know, but either way, he was a big guy. and he could easily like take you down probably. And because of his line of work, he probably has really awesome skills at like how to like just nip things in the bud, and how to like if someone's trying to do something, if someone's trying to be smart, he can like probably like take them down really quickly or something like that. And that was pretty cool. So me and him were talking a lot about like the differences in like what's the efficacy of, or how efficient is it to have civilians on the same aircraft with just a single prisoner, and also like the handoff method between like two cops show up with the prisoner, he shows up to the airport, they handcuff one handcuff to the prisoner, and then they handcuff another handcuff to the guy, and they walk on the plane and sit down. And he says that in like the 20-some years that he's done that, they've really not had any issues. One of those things happened to be that when you had two handcuffs on you, and there's a guy that's like kind of a big guy right next to you, it kind of humbles you, I guess. If you were the like the prisoner or whatever, it's like, well, you're not going to do anything stupid unless you're really, really, really fucking stupid there. So that's pretty interesting. The headphones. So the $300 headphones, which it's kind of funny that first guy that I rode to Las Vegas with, he wore super fancy clothing, but his headphones were only about $100. Only about $100. So I have like these $300 headphones. It's like, oh well, I don't know. Just it's just funny to judge people by their headphones, because then you get very absurd things. Because obviously he was doing something kind of popular, I guess. Because I don't know. Like he seemed very interested in like just having a normal conversation with me. So I was like, okay, maybe you don't have normal conversations that much. And it's funny to like think like, oh, he only has $100 headphones or whatever. I find that funny. Meanwhile, I personally would envy anybody that had like original Walkman headphones that were still operational with the orange padding. Because mine aren't actually. My favorite headphones, I don't think I have them here. I have several pairs. They're just like $10 knockoff Walkman headphones from the 80s. Oh, and now that Guardians of the Galaxy came out and popularized the orange headphones, prices have skyrocketed on orange headphones from the 80s. Because everyone's trying to get them to be like Star-Lord. Yeah, well, anyway, so the really fancy schmancy Bose headphones, the Quiet Comfort 25s, worked even better than I expected. One thing to keep note of is I didn't realize how big of a difference taking off my glasses would have. It makes sense though, because having my glasses on introduces a little bit of an air gap, and also this acts as like a receptor, picking up all the vibrations and transferring it. Kind of like how sound goes through bone, but sound was going through my glasses. So when I take that off, it is fucking amazing. I actually fell asleep on my laptop on the airplane on accident, and I woke up like 2 hours later and I was like, oh well, okay. But yeah, I was really surprised. But then after 2 hours of napping, I took off the headphones. You know, when you put the headphones on and you turn them on, it's like everything goes like really quiet. It's like you go deaf all of a sudden. It's very disconcerting too, because it's like, shit, did I just get shot in the ears or something like that? I don't know what the fuck's going on. And it's just a weird sensation to not have hardly any sound. But then of course whenever you, if you turn it on and turn it back off, it'd sound normal, like it'd be normal noise. But then try napping in that, then turning it off. It's like you're standing next to a jet engine, because you kind of are, and it's like, ah, fuck, it's so loud in here. So that was kind of funny. I got like an instant headache just from taking off the headphones then, because of like the sudden jump to how noisy it is inside of a 737, especially a few seats behind the wing compartment area. But yeah, that's pretty nice. I liked it a lot. too bad my laptop was on the fritz, and too bad it's their Wi-Fi. Well, my laptop wasn't on the fritz. I was kind of on the fritz. Their Wi-Fi was on the fritz, though. I would only get like a split second of internet every 5 seconds. Having a very hard time connecting. And I was thinking, either that's a network issue, or I've got a virus. And I kept doing things on the computer thinking it was a virus, but no, that's just how the computer works. I actually, when I got back home, I spent another like 4 hours, because I discovered there's a program called TightVNC on there. And TightVNC can be something that, if you want to keep an eye on someone, you can install it on their, you can sneak in, you have to manually install it on their computer. But then you can like gain access to their computer without any of their consent. And so I was like, shit, why the fuck is that on my computer? Who's been trying to hack into my computer? And then I looked at it. It was installed February of 2015. It was installed at 6:04 p.m. on February 16th of this year. So I was thinking, well, that's right after I got the laptop. That's like well, that's like 15 days after I got the laptop. Not probably more like 20 days after I got the laptop. So I was thinking, well, who would have had access to that? And when I've been home at 6 o'clock? Unfortunately, I don't have like the records of like my hours that I worked or whatever at my job, so I can't tell if I went home that early. And I didn't take any pictures that day, because sometimes you can look through like the pictures of like on your phone or whatever, or on your camera, and you can go by the date codes to see what you've been doing at that certain specific time. So nothing would happen there. So then I didn't know about the basically there's a thing you can get to. I can't remember what it's called, but it has logs of pretty much everything that happens on your computer. It logs basically anytime a program changes something. Whenever you log in, it like there's like 4 messages that come up every time you log in, because it's like system startup, user login, user loading, something something something, whatever, user something. So it looks like that malicious software was installed by me. And then I was starting to think, you know, when I first got that laptop, it didn't seem very powerful because I had to update the drivers, I think. And this is before I installed Final Fantasy XIV on it. So I was still hesitant about whether or not it would run Final Fantasy XIV okay. So probably what I did, I probably just was going to experiment with like virtualing in, or remoting into my PC here, so I can have Final Fantasy XIV running on this PC, which is like a big computer from a big gaming rig, and having that video signal go over the internet to my computer. So basically be like a virtual desktop, or a window into this my computer here. But I forgot that I was messing around with that. So almost a year later, freaking out thinking that someone was trying to hack into my shit. Oh well. If someone's trying to hack into my shit, there would be a lot more things. There would be things amiss. Like for instance, my Google account would probably be changed at least a little bit. But I haven't noticed any changes. I changed passwords on all my stuff though, so whatever. But still, last night was one of those things where it was a snowball effect, where I kept going through and like, oh my god, is this a virus? Like one time, I accidentally I clicked on Task Manager's window, and I didn't know you can double click that to make it like borderless almost, where it doesn't have like the file edit menu or whatever. It doesn't have any of the controls. It's just like a graph. And I was like, shit, what happened? Did a virus just get rid of Task Manager? This is a horrible virus. I gotta get rid of this. And well, that's whenever I started Virus Scan, and I was going through and like I discovered that Resource Manager actually can show all like the tasks and stuff like that. So I can still get some of the functionality of Task Manager, but through Resource Manager or Resource Monitor. Sorry. That's when I took the nap for an hour to do the virus scan. And I woke up, and then I realized, oh, you just double click on the graph, and it goes back to main Task Manager. It's not a virus. It's just a mode. So yeah, but a bunch of stuff like that. Oh well. But you know, sometimes you have to have a paranoid scare of like just like an entire night of like, oh my god, people are trying to break into my shit. And then you realize, like, oh, it wasn't. But hey, I've upgraded my security measures now, so that's good. It's always good to do that because then it just kind of makes you deal with how secure your systems are or whatever. Well, I say that's pretty much it. Probably not going to make any more videos on this channel during my time here. Then again, I did take more time off. Like 2.5 weeks. Almost 3 weeks, actually. Because part of me was like, well, no one's going to be at work. Well, they will be at work. Nobody important that'll notice I'm not there will be at work. So it's like, well, I'll just take an extra week off and not get paid. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!